space is a place for us.
Real people with real issues.
Discussing real topics.
Black space.
A safe space for our community.
Template by having each guest give their baseline philosophy on this concept of men being the total package. So Tara, how about we start with you, and you have a few minutes to kind of just get it out there on your side, how you feel about this issue.
So how I feel about them having to be, or how I feel about them being it?
Whatever you think on the topic of this. For example, we have a trend of content makers, social media influencers that are trying to, how do you say it? It's reestablish the male ego, so to speak, by trying to there's a perception, at least today, right or wrong, accurately or inaccurately, that men have been diminished, have been castigated in a role where testosterone is actually an impediment these days versus the old days where it was just, man, hair, beer, not a whole lot of words, just, one or two syllables, and that's it. Right.
Right.
Now we've come into what you call the metrosexual male. Right. So there's a lot of these, identity fogs that we're running to, where we're just not really sure what are we. We're having a combination of things. So where do you lie on this current trend?
So as far as the trend, okay, so men being the total package for me, I feel like, yeah, I do want you to be the total package. I do want you to be that king. I do want you to be the protector. I do want you to be the provider. I do also want you to be available and dating me and romantic. And I understand that with social media, it makes it hard because typically people compare. But I also think with social media and the internet, men can be more in touch with themselves at just the click of a key. They could learn something about intimacy or how to please their woman, or sexual things, or things that maybe doesn't occur to them. They can look it up. And so with social media and Google, I think that a man can be that old-fashioned man where he's the strong provider type, protector type, but also available and romantic, and planning things, and the total package.
Okay, all right. That's a pretty structured plate there, and you cover the whole gamut there.
Yeah, and I want to preface it by also saying, before you get started, Penny, is that that man doesn't come the first day, right? Like, I've been married for 19 years. This is my second marriage. It doesn't happen day one. So I married a king, but he has evolved to what I need him to be.
Awesome. I love how that sounds. Penny?
You have to say, Penny.
So this total, I think that women want, they want this total guy. They want the old-fashioned alpha provider, macho, man cave dwelling, hardworking, beer and steak kind of man on one hand, right? But they also want this sensitive, great with the kids. And I'm not talking about in the traditional leadership fatherly way. They wanted him to be sensitive and listen to your how your day went, and just be soft and cry in the movies, the romantic comedies. They want all of that. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, that guy doesn't exist
That's what you
in the
say.
general population. That's not most guys. Most guys fall in, most masculine guys fall in that masculine category. We're not really into our quote unquote in tune to our
Feelings.
feminine side. Right. That's not the guy you're not gonna meet that guy, right? Your average brain surgeon or rocket surgeon or brain scientist is not gonna fit that mold. Most guys aren't gonna fit that mold. Most of the aggressive quote unquote alpha male uh, type guys, they don't have those other qualities about them. And I think that it's crazy that that's even an ask. But I always push back by saying this.
What do you mean an ask that we expect that?
Yeah, women expect the guy to be able to build the Mazda,
Mm-hmm.
but also, know
Remember to
every
fill up the
line,
tank.
from the I don't know, I can't even think of any
The
romantic
note, the
comedies.
notebook.
The Notebook, right? They want you to know what the Notebook is about and get into it. Oh my God, I just changed your oil and rebuilt your engine, but this movie really has me touched. That guy doesn't exist, right? And women want that, but I always push back to saying you want all of that from a guy in exchange for what? Most women aren't even traditional. They don't even bring traditional characteristics to the table, but they want all that from a guy. I always push back with that.
Okay.
Okay, so I have a challenging question for the both of you, and I will start with Tara. And you have a very complete list that covers, pretty much a good span of the skill sets needed in the average relationship. So with that in mind, do women in general believe that men should just know?
Yeah. Unfortunately, we do. I think you learn in time with a healthy marriage that they don't, and they're so unlike you, and they're so not thinking how you're thinking that it's impossible. But there in some things you should just know, especially now. This is if you've been with a partner for a long time. This is not somebody that, this is talking about partnership, right? So we're talking about somebody that well. I feel like sometimes he should know. He should just know. And then other times I feel like I know he don't know, but I don't want to have to tell him either. Like, why do I have to tell him?
Mm,
Why
mm,
doesn't he get it? Like, why
mm.
doesn't he see my demeanor or my attitude or my how I'm speaking? And how come he doesn't get it? Because they say communication is speaking, but it's also like body language, it's
Hmm.
tone. You know what I'm saying? It's not just
Yes.
action. So when you see that tone without words, you should know. You should just know. You should just know.
Mm, mm. Wow. Personally speaking, I consider myself to be a fairly intelligent individual. I'm a mental health therapist, so I deal with relationships in a variety of capacities. And so the funny thing about being a mental health therapist and working on other people's relationships is the only relationship that I can't work on is my own.
Of course.
Black Space, a safe space for our community.